But we want to go ahead and get started, jump right into it. Let's talk about The Bachelor this week. This was hometown week.
Hometown.
And that's a landmark week. It's like truly the first time they've gotten they're going to get a full day together. They're going to get to see family and friends.
Yeah.
And this is Jen's hometown. Jen's hometowns. What are our thoughts?
Oh, man. Jen, there's nobody. Okay, there's a clear front runner. Like,
Clearly.
There's a clear person that she is very into, and they are very into her.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, it's kind of just like, I don't know. Right. So she literally, after all of the hometowns, told everyone she was falling for them except for Jeremy. So It was pretty obvious that Jeremy was going home.
Yeah, I think she told when Jeremy said, "Oh, I'm falling for you," she just said, "Oh, that makes me so happy."
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I see it as I see it as, like, again, pretty obvious. I think we all know Devin appears to be the front runner, especially with Jonathan kind of taking a few steps back, with Marcus kind of withholding. Mm-hmm. Jonathan, right?
Yeah.
And so he seems to be all steam ahead right now. And Jeremy, I was shocked he made it here. I feel like he wouldn't have made it here.
Wait, why do you think Jonathan took a few steps back?
Because Jonathan is I don't know if I'm ready. You know what I mean? I don't know if I feel ready. If this is real, I'm not opening myself up.
Yeah.
And she was starting to feel that as well.
Yeah.
She basically asked each one that she had doubts with. Not doubts, or there were doubts with her. At least maybe she asked all of them, but the edit showed her asking Jonathan's family, like, "Do you think he's ready?" She asked Jeremy's family, "Do you think he's ready?" And so on and so forth. I think that was a theme of the men feeling a little apprehensive about this stage and being this committed to what am I saying here? To Jen.
Yeah. The families were pretty clear cut. I will say Jeremy's sister was a standout for sure. She was very skeptical of the whole process, definitely. I feel like. Uh-huh. And Jen had told her, or I guess Jen said, like, I don't really know if Jeremy's been fully vulnerable with me.
Yes.
And so then the sister went back to Jeremy and was like, she said you're not being fully open with her.
Right.
She doesn't know if you're, like, into it or ready.
Right.
And I think she did. Didn't she ask the sister if he was ready? If she thought he was ready?
Well, that's what I'm saying. She asked all of them.
Yeah.
Except for Devin's, because it seemed clear that he was.
Yeah.
And if you remember, another thing about Jonathan taking a step back, on the lacrosse date, he did say, "Oh, I'm kind of." Didn't he say, "I kind of hold him back a little bit"? You know what I mean? I just want to be sure. Didn't he say that to her?
Yeah, he did say that.
That's what I mean by, like, it's not just all steams ahead with these guys anymore. Roadblocks have surfaced.
Right.
So
Okay, all of their dates were pretty lame.
Okay, we got lacrosse with Jeremy. I thought that was fun.
But she had already played lacrosse with Jonathan.
Yeah. But they were on the field. They got dressed up. They had the actual, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's part of it. And Jeremy's, that was lame. Grocery shopping.
It was kind of a cool grocery store, though. I'm not going to lie.
It was your average.
I would kind of like it.
It was your average grocery store.
Do you think his aunt being there was a total shock?
I don't know. I have no clue. I think
he seemed legitimately surprised that she was there.
But I wouldn't put it past her to have been like, because, I mean, it's not like she didn't see the camera crew, you know what I mean?
Well, true.
So, how often are they filming in that grocery store?
True.
And she probably knew her nephew. They were in town. Okay, so who knows? Then we had Devin's was a fun run.
The running club.
Can
you imagine if you were like, "Hey, Brooke, we're going to go running with all my friends"? I would be dying in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, that would not have been the date for you. But she's athletic, so she enjoyed it. Yeah, it was Houston. It wasn't the most representative of Houston a date could be. But it was better than...
What would be a representative date of Houston?
Sitting in traffic for 2 hours.
Eating good food.
Yeah.
Got good food here.
Trouble trying to find parking or whatever. Even though half the city is a parking lot. But no, yeah. So that was you're right. It wasn't oh wow, that's a crazy cool date. And then Marcus's was, dang, what was
didn't? I don't think they even showed it.
Yeah, I guess because I think we just met the family.
Yeah.
If it was something before that, it was so boring we've forgotten it.
Yeah.
So I agree. The hometowns, I think, weren't as crazy. I don't know if it's the guys and the producers not being able to come up with something that awesome, or if it's just in general we've seen so much. COVID and all that has kind of changed how these shows are produced and budgets and stuff like that.
I mean, the whole season has felt very low budget.
Truly.
They haven't even been, well, other than that they are traveling a lot.
Well, a lot, I don't know if that's the case because they went to Australia and New Zealand. That's on the other side of the world. But that's really all they did. The other 2 stops were America. They started off in Arizona.
True.
Spent some time in Australia and New Zealand. They came back to Seattle. Which is okay. I don't know if it's just rose-colored glasses, but in the past I envisioned it being more like the Amazing Race almost, and like you'd be in this European country, then you would fly here, then you'd fly here.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's always only been a couple stops.
But it's easy to do that in European countries because they're so small and so close.
And close together. Yeah. I would say, it definitely, I wouldn't say it's felt low budgets, but it's definitely felt a lower spectacle. How many times can we see her jump off a building, jump out of an airplane, go on a helicopter ride? You know what I mean? But the dates themselves weren't the most exciting part. I would say the other standouts from the hometown dates would have to be, let me think this through. Oh, we got to see Devin's family, his grandparents, and his dad, his stepdad, and his mom.
And his bio dad.
I said his dad and his stepdad.
Oh.
And so that was interesting. She confirmed that she didn't always model the best behavior.
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty big thing to admit as a parent.
Right. Sometimes I'm like, man, they're really dogging these parents when they're like, we didn't have the traditional upbringing.
Right.
It was different. But no, she said the same. And so that's kind of reflects Jen's experience as well, which she said. But Jenn said that a lot of times too. And then we heard it from her mom being like, well, you don't always have the traditional.
Well, so and like I wanted to give you a good dad, and I didn't.
Right, which is so interesting. As a parent, sometimes I'm like, or thinking from a parent perspective, or just any perspective, I'm always just like, I guess maybe I'm privileged because I had, my mother and my father, they stuck together. But, you know what I mean? But from the outside perspective, I definitely didn't think of people who had single parents or mixed families as like, wow, what a failure. You know what I mean? Sure. I didn't look at my friends and go like, hope you make it, man. You know what I mean? You have a stepdad. Whoa, your mom has had a couple boyfriends. It's over for you, bro. I never thought like that. So I'm always kind of like, dang, that's a big thing people bring up. I don't know why they bring it up, but clearly it impacts them.
I think so. I think it impacts them even sometimes more as an adult than as the kid going through it. They kind of look back and they're like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah. It's interesting. It's also such a line we get all the time in Bachelor. Like, oh, my parents divorced. I don't want to. I understand. Or my parents have been married and stuck together forever. That's what I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm like, so it just comes down to what you want.
Yeah.
You can model, but that's an easier thing said than done. Okay, and then go ahead.
Oh, now I'm remembering too, because I remember Jonathan was on their date. He was talking about, I've kind of been holding back because of that past relationship that I told you about. Right. Now I'm remembering that. Because his family, I can't remember his family dynamic. Oh, I just remember his brother and sister-in-law.
Yes.
Remember, she was like, oh, well, we met and moved in together after 3 weeks and then got married or got engaged after 3 months. So we can relate to your story. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then Jenn went and sat down and talked with him. And his brother was just like, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This is too weird for me. And
exactly.
I'm like, bro, what?
Right.
That was weird, right?
It definitely was. It was a change of pace from how you thought they were presented this quick thing, but maybe it's like I wasn't ready, and yeah, it worked out. But those first couple months, I was ready to pull the trigger.
Okay, but then say that. Don't just then get all weird and like basically.
Well, you want to say that in front of your wife? Maybe your wife was always like, "We can get married now. We should get married now. We should get it now." And he was always like, "I don't know." He was the Willie to her Francesca. Maybe that's a Love Is Blind reference for those who don't watch Love Is Blind Mexico. We'll talk about it next episode. Yeah, that was a change of pace.
And I guess I don't know his family history.
Well, yeah, they didn't get deep dive into.
And we only saw his dad for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that was his dad.
Yeah, we don't even know if it was his dad.
Right. So, but they didn't dive into it, so it didn't seem relevant to his story.
I just was wondering if there was any of the guys were like, oh, my parents had a great relationship and they've been married for X amount of years, but maybe Jeremy?
I don't remember Jeremy saying that explicitly.
Yeah.
But that seemed to be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had the Jeremy date, we had the Jonathan family stuff, we had the Devin stuff. Lastly, we had Marcus, who was not able to meet his foster parents.
He said adoptive parents.
Adoptive parents, you're right. That one.
So we don't really know what the story is there.
Right, because he didn't really detail it when he talked about his foster history. But we got to meet what he considered to be his family from Seattle, where the people he cared and loved about most all seemed to be. So mentors, I believe, is what he described them as, an older couple who kind of were the stand-ins for those paternal figures. And it was very interesting. They were almost like bragging or about like, hey, we're an intimidating bunch to meet. You know what I mean? Like, feel bad. I feel a little bad for Jenn. And I'm like, wow, what? You know what I mean? I didn't understand that. Maybe they're talking about, I don't know. Maybe are they all military? And so it's just the fact that it's a bunch
I think so, because he had mentioned they were there for him when he like first went into the military.
Right. So, I mean, maybe that plays a part into it. I'm not really sure. But, yeah, they seem to be, in reaction to Jenn, they all seem to like Jenn, including all the other 3 guys' families. No one seemed to have bad reaction to her. And that's another thing about Jenn, is that she's very well spoken. Like going and looking, like seeing how she answered everyone's questions, how she described being in love with multiple guys at the same time, all that good stuff. She didn't have any issues with that. She was able to communicate her thoughts clearly, even with the tough questions like, oh, are you in love with her, son? Are you in love with other guys? She's like, I do have feelings, of course. I wouldn't be at any of these guys' houses if I hadn't got there. I thought she handled that pretty well.
Yeah, she did.
Especially seeing how poorly some other people have handled these conversations in other reality TV shows we've watched this week. I think it goes to show how into it. I mean, no, how well of a communicator she was.
Yeah.
But back to Marcus, I think Marcus was really, really being vulnerable with his doubts. He was one of the guys that were like, this is good. Jonathan said as much as well. Like, he wanted this family experience to show or illuminate his own feelings to himself. I've never really understood that. So many people say that, but they're like, I'll know for sure from how my family reacts. And so that's what he was looking. He was asking.
Some people really value their parents' opinions. Not that you don't, but I think. Oh, sorry.
If you could silence yourself, that'd be great.
Sorry. But I think some people really are like, if we go meet my family and you don't fit in, it's not going to work. Or you don't mesh well, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and that's an interesting perspective. But, yeah, he wanted to see, like, he explained his vulnerabilities to the guy, the mentor figure, and just kind of just was looking for an answer. And it seemed to be most of the advice and that all the parents and family and friends gave was like, you're in this, you got to commit to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can you? There's no point in holding back. Let's just give it your all, which I think is good advice. This is the best.
Yeah, wasn't it Jonathan's mom who was like, you need to tell her if you love her, you need to tell her. because you don't want to have regrets.
Right.
And if it does fall apart, we'll be here. We'll get through it. But, like, you need to just tell her. I thought that was really good advice.
It was the same advice everyone's parents gave, because that's what caused Jeremy to say it.
Yeah.
That's what caused Jonathan to say it. That's what caused Marcus to say it. It's almost like the producers were running their favorite playbook.
Well, I'm sure, yeah. But Marcus still was so hesitant.
Yeah, he definitely was. Like, it wasn't, he communicated that he was falling for her. But when all the guys, which was a weird scene, when they had the guys meet up at the bar, and they're all like, "Yeah, I'm all in."
We have never done that before.
I don't want to say never,
Jarrett.
They definitely had post hometown.
Maybe like in the hotel.
Yeah. But you're right. Just an outing, that was weird.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, we're best friends, getting a beer together."
It was probably to get that scene that they got. Which was the more expressing of doubt from Marcus.
Yeah, and he was context. He was crying before he basically was like, I guess I'm gonna go home because I'm not all the way in. I'm sure she can tell.
And it's so crazy because he's not all the way in, got a rose, and Jeremy was for sure he was getting one, and it was fully committed. But I don't know if it was. I think even the people around him were like, "Are you like? Have y'all had deep conversations?" But he was like, "No, the vibes are good." I could see it working out.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it's fair to say, like, well, at this point, maybe you need to have a little more.
That's true. Yeah.
So, so he's just saying how in tune into the process all the other guys are, and he's thinking he's crazy. And in reality, Marcus, no, you're not crazy. No one dates like this in the real world. It's like 100% of people, have not dated like this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that weird to feel that way. But you did sign up for it, so it is what it is, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
They have the rose ceremony. Jeremy's confident he's gonna get a rose, but he, of course, as everyone knew at this point, except him maybe, he wasn't getting the rose and is sent home.
Yep.
I don't even remember like a big hubbub like, "Oh, why did she choose me?" scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there really wasn't.
Yeah, he's kind of telling a little bit, but
yeah,
I just I think he should just been happy to get worse as far as he got. So we saw in the preview tons of doubt, and I don't think I can get there.
Yeah,
and I need more from you or something.
Yeah,
like, I'm sorry, I can't give you. Just all of the doubt.
Yeah.
Which was the bulk of what the season was teased as, like, oh, it gets, you know what I mean?
Right.
So my question is, what do you think is in the air that is causing everybody to like all of a sudden go like, I don't know.
I think it's the people. Like, I think it's the people that she picked.
Yeah, you did say that.
I think she has almost like an attraction to people who are not 100% in, or not like, or who are like a little bit, I don't want to say problematic because that doesn't feel right.
I think
but
you call them fixer-uppers.
Yeah, maybe fixer-uppers. Because even like, think about Devin. Like, his personality is not for everyone.
Yeah, but that doesn't make you a fixer-upper. He seems the most into her and ready to commit.
No, in the preview, he was like, I don't know if I see myself getting engaged.
Right, and I hear that, and I see it on the preview, but I'm just like, what causes such a radical shift? I'm almost wondering if it's an editing thing.
Yeah, maybe. I will say, I don't think Jonathan is really a fixer-upper, but I think he is maybe not fully ready to be in a serious relationship.
And then Love is Blind, in the Love is Blind universe, they have to pick whether they get married in a month. They have to decide at the altar. If it was Jonathan and Jenn, I feel like he would be the let's not get married but keep dating because there's more questions.
I feel like she might be too.
Oh, definitely. At the start of the season, for sure. 100%. She would have not married anyone.
Yeah.
But she seems to be heading that direction, trending that way of wanting to get engaged.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that happens with Jonathan, regardless. If he was the only person. Same thing with Marcus. But I think with Marcus, after seeing, like, at this point, you should have feelings.
Yeah.
He almost is like, I'm not even feeling it. It's the vibe. He was like, she's a great girl. I want to get there with her, but I'm just feeling it.
And he's like, I just don't know what's wrong.
You're
so
right.
do you think he self-evicts?
Maybe, because we see someone, maybe someone does, because she says that at some point, I'm tired of men controlling what happens. So if a man makes a choice that late in the game, and she's like, ugh, I'm tired of this, I'm doing
and
something.
Maybe that's why she ultimately ends up proposing, because Devin is like, I don't know if I can do it if there's other people here.
Or Jonathan. But the key is, it is Devin, because she's looking up, and at this point, Devin's the tallest. But she says, I can't let you propose.
Right.
So it's almost not like, oh, you're not going to propose, so I'm going to do it.
Right.
It's saying, I can't let you propose. So you're saying, oh, he's saying, I don't want to. And so she's saying, I want to. No, she's saying, you want to, but I can't let you. I'll do it.
What? Is that not the same exact thing?
No, it's totally different.
I'm not following.
Okay. I don't want to go to the store. This JB saying, I don't want to get in the car. And then your response is, JB screaming, our son is screaming, I don't want to get in the car. I don't want to get in the car. And your response is, I can't let you get in the car. I'm going to put you in the car. Doesn't make any sense. But if JB is like, I want to crawl in there myself. I want to crawl in there myself. I want to crawl in there myself. And you said, I can't let you crawl in there myself. I'm going to put you in there. That's the difference. Do you not see the difference?
So you're not saying that...
I'm saying, so whoever's up there at the final
wants to propose. Okay.
And she's saying, I can't let you.
I see.
So anyways, that's where it looks like we're heading. It's I think the way that they've slammed off of the Devin villain edit, the way they're propping him up as the most emotionally ready for the last couple episodes, and the way they didn't ask if he was ready in the hometowns or show her asking that, it's kind of leading me to believe he's going to be our final.
I don't think so.
Which is, hey, go Houston. Houston.
Well, it'll be interesting. On their date, he said, like, she loves me for every single thing about me. She doesn't judge me. Which, does she really know everything about him at this point? Probably not. And she was like, yeah, I do. So I'm like, how is that going to translate? Is that going to last? We'll see.
I think whatever happens, I think we're in for a interesting finale.
For sure.
And we're excited about it. I mean, there's only those 4 dates. Do we have any other speculation on Jenn? Any other outside stuff we want to talk about related to it?
I think that's it.
Did you sign up your friend to be on?
No, I talked to her. Okay, I talked to her and I got the deets, the personal deets. I need to go do that today.
You should do
we'll
that.
do that today.
Because Sam's ticking.
I know.
They need to meet your friend.
I know. They're probably going to do like an open casting and she needs to be there.
Right. So, okay. So we'll give an updated status on that. It would be nice to know someone who went on a reality show. So that'll be fun. If we don't have anything else on The Bachelor, The Bachelorette. Have I been saying The Bachelor this whole time?
I don't know. I never call it the right thing.
We'll go ahead and end it there.